I just put one at the end.
Okay, fine, we'll share. Absolutely.
Richard's change from what you said.
Hit him out. That's it. Yeah, no, well,
You don't have it memorized.
I do.
Okay, all right, good.
I know often you guys ask me what the projects are for, so I had to have it so I could see it.
Shadrach really helps.
Right.
Let's see here. I think, you see anybody that's missing, Rachel, that you look at the.
The other ones that I'm expecting are all likely to be virtual.
Yeah, I see some on there, so. So you see reason to wait. Well, we'll go ahead and call the Senior Advisory Committee meeting to order for the October 17th meeting. Thanks, everybody, for being here in person and online. We want to go ahead and do a roll call. We'll see who's here.
Absolutely. Jonathan Wisdom.
Here.
Joshua Kalu.
Present.
Joel Thacker.
Present.
Andrea Vaughn. Steve King. Bernie Byer.
Person,
Eric Yazel.
Present.
Brian Baird. Jack Seif.
Present.
Joshua Geezy.
Present.
Tad Stahl, who's the proxy for Warren Leonard.
Present.
And Kevin Hobson.
We've got it for them, right?
Yep,
We're good?
we're good on all the things.
All right. Continue cruising here. Next item is approval of the minutes from the August 4th meeting. Since everybody had a chance to take a look at those, are there any changes, any modifications in the room here or online? All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve the August 4th meeting minutes.
so move.
Second motion and a second. All right, we'll do a roll call since we've got any votes on it.
Yep. All right, Jonathan Witham,
Yes.
Joshua Killen,
Yes.
Joel Thacker,
Staying, I was not there.
Andrea Bott. Yes. Steve Kane. Bernie Byer,
Aye.
Eric Yazel,
Aye.
Brian Baird. Jack Seif,
Yes.
Joshua Geezy,
Yes.
Tad Stahl,
Yes.
and Kevin Hobson.
Looks like, here, it sounds like it. And we had enough,
We're
right?
good, we're good.
We had enough. Okay, good. All right, motion passes. August 4th meeting minutes are approved. Okay, Rachel, if you want to take item number 4,
Yeah.
talk to us about these colors and numbers.
Yeah, okay, so let's start with the main requirements of the 80/20 pass through. Am I sharing or not?
Doesn't look
No,
like it.
okay, give me 1 second.
We got it now. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. So the 80% go to locals, 20% is the max that the state can keep in any way. Law enforcement, terrorism prevention activities is still 35%. Supposed to make it available 45 days from whenever FEMA approves the projects, we think. And then the senior advisory, none of that has changed. here to work. So as far as we know, these are all the same too. It's still the same, and I keep saying the same because, our award letter looks a lot different than what the NOFO said in some aspects, and I'll get into that in just a second. But as far as we know, it's still these numbers toward the national priorities. And it's still the same priorities. So just to recap how we went about getting all the applications, we sent the IB out, the information bulletin, and the locals all filled out the applications. We reviewed it according to the scoring criteria document. Everything's capped at 150. No more than one national priority application and one enduring needs per organization. And everything was due to IDHS on September 24th. All of that went off without a hitch, no problems. We then reviewed it. 3 people reviewed it. Andy reviewed all the communications. There were a lot of them. IoT reviewed all the cybersecurity ones. There were 11 of those. And then IDHS staff reviewed everything multiple times. And we got all the scores that you saw on all the spreadsheets. Now, what our award letter, so our award letter was for the $4,362,750. That was the allocation listed in the award letter. Or in the NOFO, sorry, in the NOFO. And then our award letter came back with $6,629,000. $6,629,000. So, but there's also some lawsuits going on because the money came from other states' allocations. So right now, we don't really know where it's going to land for sure. They did take back all of the HSVP award letters. FEMA did, after the lawsuit was brought. So what we're doing today is kind of creating contingencies. So if the NOFO numbers are what is actually funded, then these are the projects we'll put in for that, for FEMA approval. If the award numbers end up being the final amounts, then we'll put the award numbers in. That's why there are so many spreadsheets. The other part of that is the UWASI also got a lot more money in if the award letter stands. So that's why there were 3 options. We have the NOFO version. We have just the straight award letter version. And then we have the award letter version where we move all the Hamilton and Marion County projects to UWASI. We have checked with the UWAV and ECC here to represent them, that will be fine. But that's up to you guys, obviously, on whether you want to do it that way or not, should that be the final number. So there's a lot of ifs, ands. But basically, my goal in us going ahead and doing these votes for the projects is so that as soon as we get final guidance and we can get these projects into FEMA. Because the other thing on our award letter that we are hoping changes is the period of performance is 1 year, ending August 30th next year. So we also kind of tried to make sure these projects are mostly doable in that 1 year if we can get moving on them sometime soon. So we want to be able, in case that doesn't change, FEMA has also sent out a new letter saying they will be sticking to whatever the periods of performances are, and it will be very, very hard to get extensions. was another they sent us. So, basically, we're trying to make it so that if there's any way we can move forward, we can move forward immediately, once we know.
There's always a chance that there'll be another curveball. So we'll have the discussion today. We'll hopefully have some path forward for all three options that we know about right now, or that we think we know about right now. And then if we get that curveball, then we may need to get back together and reevaluate. Another thing that we might want to consider is if we start hearing from some of these projects that, we may think the period of performance of a year, you could do it within the year, but if we start hearing from projects and from organizations that say, there's no way we can do this, we want the money to go back in the pot, then we should have other projects that are either in the queue or supplement some of the projects that might have been knocked down for some reason. So, and so from my understanding, the pot of money hasn't changed, right? The overall pot of money hasn't changed. The allocation to the states has changed, largely based on what I think is the population evaluation, and probably, related to some of the states that are counting people that the federal government right now doesn't think should be counted toward their population. So we have a population verification process that's happening in parallel, right?
That is for EMPHB.
Are we sure it's not at all?
We're not sure what
Okay.
it's not for this one, but we're not sure
Yeah.
that it is either.
Yeah, and so, I think there's just so many things that could change. Today, we're gonna play within the sandbox with the information that we know right now, and that's not even very well known, right? So we think we know three things, and I guess what I'm trying to say is let's keep an open mind. And we may need to quickly get back together if we can, to reevaluate things once we have that final guidance. But right now, we should be operating under the assumption that these are the options. We got a 1-year period of performance, and we want to be able to act as quickly as possible once we get
No,
that final guidance.
Whatever's up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I have two questions. You said 1-year performance period, but August 30th, not September 30th. Is that to give the state 30 days to clean up? Or is that the state's federal requirement that we'll have to back up? Because that's only 11 months.
I have to look again. So normally the end of SHSP is the end of August, and it might be the end of September right now. But I forgot to double check that. But no, it still gives us our 3-month liquidation period after that. Yeah.
The question, you mentioned Uwazi, before they were 3.3 something million, you said they got more letter.
Mhm.
Can you tell us what that total is?
I believe it was
Significant.
significant. Yeah, it was like 8 million-ish. You,
But the board letter, I'm sorry. No full amount was the 3367, so that's
Yeah.
likely not in contention either.
right.
Thank you.
So we're going back to what we expected on the no-phone numbers. Everything, we're just assuming everything is as it was said in the no-phone, for no-phone numbers.
That's the safest bet.
It's the safest bet.
And probably, in my opinion, the most likely, right?
That's
Because
my opinion, but
ours went from 3 million to 8 million for Uwazi. That's taking from Chicago and New York and all these and
Mhm.
places in California. And, when you look at the previous allocation versus the current, unless they add funding to the overall pot of money, I feel like we should, in our minds, be operating with the most conservative no phone numbers and then be prepared, really prepared
just in case.
to go as quickly as we can with some of these other projects, if we have additional funds.
That is that's where I'm living too.
I would add one more contingency. As they did it this year with Brick and others, is even if some of the extra money gets awarded, those that spend it have to be prepared for that to be clawed back. What they haven't already spent on a robot and a Bearcat or something, or a multi-piece unit, they might be halfway done and have the program stop mid-year and clawed back. And those jurisdictions have to be prepared to pay them into the contract themselves or live with only half the equipment, or I guess they did that with Brick. So there's another wrinkle. Spending anything over the no-flow has so much risk. The recipients have to know they could be on the hook for that money they just got.
And my understanding is we won't necessarily allocate this until we know whether we're operating with the NOFO numbers or some high.
Because FEMA still has to approve,
Yeah.
especially the national priority projects. They have to review them and approve them too. So we have no idea when we'll be able to actually award them regardless.
But you're right. I mean,
But yeah,
projects were awarded under Brick and then they were stopped mid-project. So that could still happen regardless of what the amount is, right? So those jurisdictions should at least be prepared for that. Not to say that they'll be able to continue it or finish the project, but so that we can sort of put people on notice that this is a weird time for grant funds, right? Maybe that's the first sentence
yeah,
of the award letter.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, here's some numbers in big form. So see what our allocation was from the NOFO and then what it was from the award letter. And on the award letter, they just put all the extra money in enduring needs. But I'm pretty sure we can move it all around because everything was just a placeholder looking to the actual application. All right, so we received 200 eligible applications total. 107 were national priority and 93 were enduring needs. And then you can see the breakdown of where they fell on the specific national priorities. So altogether,
Is the 21 ineligible.
okay, the 21 ineligible, those are not counted in the 200.
Okay.
They were we still had schools apply, we had churches apply. And volunteers.
And they all called me.
Oh, well, that's the good part, is they were following most of the instructions. And then we had volunteer fire departments, which most of them we rerouted if they got to us, early. And said, you need to go through your township or your city or your town or your county, and several did. And then we had one that just decided our application didn't matter, they were gonna submit whatever they wanted. And didn't talk about terrorism at all, so we made them ineligible immediately.
All right.
Yeah. And the 23 is just the eligible application amount, didn't include the ineligible people. All right, I already talked about how we reviewed everything. Okay, so this is where we're gonna go to the spreadsheets. Okay, so beginning one, and you should have all, this was attached to the meeting invite, so you should all be able to. But I'm not, 1 second. All right. You see the spreadsheet again?
Yes.
Something that I want to point out is this column D here and it's column D on all the spreadsheets. If it says no, they were not, that particular organization was not awarded in the last 3 years. So on the NOFO numbers, the only people, Lafayette Fire and and Madison County EMA and Fusion Center are the only ones that have been funded before. We had a lot of really, really good applications. 40 is the highest that you could score. And we had about 3 in each category, or in the 2 big categories. So most of our applications, as expected, ended up in enduring needs and soft targets. That's always where we tend to fall. Of the Fusion Center ones, they were all, should not have been chosen Fusion Center, other than the actual Fusion Center. Some were heading in the right direction, but they were largely not, the national priority didn't make sense. For elections, Hobart Fire Department got kind of creative. They're looking for a generator to run their stuff, but they're also a polling place. So it can help keep people in and out of restricted areas while polling. That was really interesting. Cyber, we had 2. Or 2 that were high enough. The reason we only chose 2, there were 11, and IoT marked about 5 or 6 of them as good projects. But because I tried to proportion things close to the proportion that we got. So we only got 11 cyber, is 5%. So 2 projects is about roughly close to it. So, and there's for firewalls and a VoIP system for Clay County. And then basically infrastructure for City of Westfield's EOC is what the other cyber project was. And then, oh, and border, Lafayette Police Department came up with some software and training that can address the border. That was an interesting, creative way to hit that one. And then the Fusion Center, we looked at, or I had ISP look at what they wanted and how it addressed site border, or whether it was more fusion. So that's why there's a split, so that they cover our requirement for border or help cover the rest of it. And obviously there's still some Fusion Center stuff. And we had to have at least one project, but there was no specific amount of money for that.
So in total, the Fusion Center would be at about
545.
Okay.
Then for soft targets, we've got cameras, an exercise, license plate readers, mobile barriers, generators, radios with, but also cameras and lights and detection rods, hazmat suits and decon equipment, another radio system. Under the SWIC comments, and you'll see some of them are purple. So the purple indicates that they really, really, really need this, according to Andy. If you see red, like you do for Morgan County there, no SWIC was included, so we will take out the radios for that project. They didn't make sense anyway. Or they didn't make sense for the EMA to be buying them anyway. But, so that's why that one is blue, it's a partial award. All right, moving on, we've got some more barriers and surveillance trailers, license plate readers, a mass spectrometer, ATVs. The radionuclear detection, task force is asking for a bunch of equipment, detectors and such. Then we've got freezing apparatus and analyzers, level A suits, night vision goggles, and another hazmat detector. Kind of the theme on that, on the soft targets. Things there.
I don't know if this is a question or a clarification, just for my understanding.
Mhm.
I know we talked about reviewing the UASI applicants and how they fall in. Just from my understanding, is Westfield in a UASI territory?
They're in Hamilton County, so yes.
So if anything changes on applications from UASI, would that affect
Yes,
this application they have?
yes, it would move if you all decide to. And we get the award numbers. Hamilton and Marion County projects, other than the Fusion Center, would move to UASI.
UASI? So this would just, this application they have,
This version that we're looking at is no phone numbers.
Mhm.
Because they scored so high. And it was a good project, is why it's still on the list.
okay. All right, good.
Okay. All right, and then enduring needs. So here we've got a lot of radios. A radio repeater, a refrigerated mobile unit, and tactical medical supplies, more cameras. Some training and software, surveillance items. Radios, personal radiation monitors, radios, a training simulator, which is kind of interesting. A truck and mobile command vehicle, license plate readers, panic buttons, cameras, more cameras, and some spectrometers and chemical detectors. And Madison County, while they scored a little bit lower than everybody else, their project is one that they could still get a lot with a partial amount. So theirs is partial because it's the rest of the money. Project we could find that, you could do less and still get at least a few of the things you're asking for. Any questions on the no vote? So these projects are carried through on the award and the award where we move Hamilton and Marion counties. It's just where they fall on those, but these projects stay consistent across the board, other than Madison County's number changes. Because again, I'm giving them whatever's left of the pot
In this version.
on every version. They're my,
Oh, I see.
I can adjust you on every version that we've got.
This is the lowest number that they would,
Um,
right? This is the most.
Yeah. There. Yep. So this is the lowest amount they would get. Okay. All right, so the award version is the same. And just adds Carmel Police and Steinsville Police Departments for soft targets. We only added soft targets and enduring needs. Again, proportionally, that made sense. So they were looking for barriers and access control and cameras. And then on the enduring needs side, added no. Rush County and Delphi. And they're looking for trailer with cameras and UTV cameras and access control.
There's no renovation for Delta.
Yeah, no renovation of their training room.
Is that just ineligible or that's what you took out to make the numbers work?
Construction's not really
Okay.
eligible, usually. All right. And then the award and Hamilton, Marion County to Uwazi moves all the Hamilton and Hamilton and Marion County projects to Uwazi. Which means for well, it means there's only one cyber project, would be Clay County. It's still the same one. And then we added Whitley, Wells, White, and City of Goshen to, along with Sykesville and just Sykesville that we had already added. So again, they're looking for utility vehicle, no drone for that particular one. Trailer and a couple radios. And then for the enduring needs, we added Elkhart, Fayette, City of Goshen, Perry County, and City of Greensburg. They are looking for radios, a truck, and there's more to that. And then radios and access control for their city hall. Any questions?
Hey, Rachel, this is Joel Thacker. Can you explain the tab difference, NOFO to award numbers, what the difference between those two tabs were again?
So the difference between award numbers and NOFO numbers is the amount
Okay,
and about 4 or 5 projects are
Okay.
added on the award number 1.
so the NOFO was the
4,300,000 or yeah. $4,362,750.
and the award is the 6 million.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other question.
Everything. Looks like you sent it to the whole body.
No, it just came from that mailbox.
Okay, so that way you didn't have to explain too much.
Yeah.
But it won't be a question, I guess, at this point.
Okay. So I think the first choice, and anybody can jump in, correct me if I'm wrong, would be if it's award numbers, which route would you like to go? Where I'd like to start, get that part narrowed down.
Whether it's award or award and HM to Uwazi.
Mhm.
Yeah. You want to weigh in first?
I can. We're obviously sitting with the Hamilton County, Marion County, UOG, talking with everyone there. The way we operate, which is, I don't think too different, but it's been, in my experience, it's been 3 years, but it's been pretty consistent talking with everyone else that's been around, from Chad Knet, who's been there for a long time, to Jake Spence. Have all been through this. We're really collaborative in terms of what we're looking for. So if you know, for our standpoint, looking at this, what we see, you know, Steinsville or City of Lawrence, I mean, they're very specific to what they need. What we're doing is very collaborative. We borrow all the time, you know, I'll use an example, Hamilton County's barriers, modular vehicle barriers, you know, to stop, you know, a vehicle incursion. We were borrowing those while we were waiting for what we had put out on purchase, got them, we still borrow them. There's never going to be enough. Some of our events are just too huge. You know, if I had my way, we'd have, I think I gave the chief a quote of something in the neighborhood of $16 million worth of mobile vehicle barriers. That would protect our largest event. Of course, he, you know, looked at me crazy, but he understood what Con said. If you're saying 100% safe, I've got something to, you know, cover every alley, every streetway, every interstate, whatever, from, you know, some of these major events. We have that. So we borrow that. It's very collective. No one's ever fighting over this. So we're very good with putting things over there and saying, yes, for the county, for these two counties and all the different entities in there, we're very supportive of it. You know, if it's Radnuke is a great example, you know, moving them over and having them just cover, it is across the board. That group is going to, it's pulling from people all over the county anyway, from multiple agencies. So we share that love, we share that responsibility. So we see that from the UASI side, is that's who the UASI is targeting anyway. Why would we not just push all of our resources and all of our requests through that and really let the rest of this state, frankly, use SHSP? Makes sense to us from the UOG. So there's no heartburn over there at all. I'm moving it. That was the bottom line. I think I want to make sure everyone understood is we feel very comfortable with that. And if we understand, you know, if we don't get the big numbers, we go back to the no-phone numbers, which is what we're working off of now. We're fine with that. Yeah. But to us, it's a gift every day. It's a gift. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I follow up there. So on the UIC, from a local government perspective, in the no full amount, that's what I was asking totals. The UIC at 3.3 million, in your no full version, you are awarding 23% of the award to the UIC jurisdictions in addition to the UIC money, which gives the UIC a higher total than the other 90 counties combined. And I can't support that. Knowing that the UIC is being funded at the no full amount, at the 3.3 million, I don't see a need for 23% of SHSP to go to UIC in addition to their award. I feel using your points, you should award that 1 point something million, I lost my place, to other non-UIC jurisdictions based on points similar to what you did on the third sheet, but not the 6 million at the 4.362. So I think there should be a clean version of NOFO that awards the entire 4.3 million to non-UIC jurisdictions as an option as well. Not anything against UIC, what you described is exactly what it's supposed to do. I get it.
Right.
I support it. For a brief period of time, we were almost UIC, but when I'm big enough, but how you share resources work together, which is exactly why a UIC is funded. I also get UIC supporting non-UIC jurisdictions. So I get that dynamic. So I don't make my comment from an operational standpoint or from a mutual aid standpoint, simply from a local government standpoint. In my view, representing local government, I see SHSP for the use of non-UIC jurisdictions, and that's why I would vote that way. I make that request to come up with a clean NOFO version of the 4.3 million for all non-UIC jurisdictions.
Yep. Good points. And, you know, I think one issue that I've seen just since I've been here with UASI is, and I know these are projects and largely equipment and, but, you know, UASI comes and goes, right? And it's different amounts. And so I don't want to overcomplicate it to the point where sometimes UASI or sometimes UASI, organizations within the UASI, jurisdictions are able to apply for SHSP, sometimes they're not. I know it's already confusing right now, right? Even today. And I don't know, do we have any data on what, other states are doing when it comes to, are they restricting UASI jurisdictions to just UASI dollars or,
I don't know.
okay. Maybe, you know, but-
Well, I wouldn't go that way, because, Kim, from Fort Wayne, we get IMPD for our big events, for the search on the Red Nuke, on the bomb squads. I mean, so the OIC jurisdictions are clearly supporting all the way up to our neck of the woods. So that, again, it's not an operational, and so that's why it ought to be a local discussion and a local decision based on UIC capabilities, I don't know what they plan to budget for the 3.3 million and what the extra money and capability provides not only to Marion and Hamilton, but to Allen and the other counties, because I'm not blind to that what they get, and they respond well beyond the two counties. So that's not my point in that. It's discarding for the counties in the far reaches of the state to say, how come everybody's going to those? How come all the money keeps going to those two counties? And for me to defend that, when I meet with them and say, well, I fought for them, but that's not my answer. It's more complicated. It's from a statewide perspective, what capabilities are we creating and enhancing statewide with the use of this money? And if we enhance that capability to Allen, to Noble, to pick a county, because INPD can come to one of our events and bring their cut team or whatever, or the city's Hamilton County EMA flew their drones and supported a Trump rally in Allen County a few years ago. Using those examples helps to justify. So I don't want to make it a county jurisdiction where the SHSP is to enhance capabilities statewide through mutual aid and through sharing. And if we can articulate that, and that's the best use of the dollars of why we're going to get 23% in two counties, that's supportable. I just want to make sure I bring that up, representing local government. This is from a map standpoint, it doesn't pass the sniff test because we don't normally have this detailed discussion out in the hinterlands. And if this data helps me have that, I'm good with it. I just want to bring it up. And I've never talked to the UASI before. Our city bomb squad, when our office was a city, used to work with IMPD a lot. It's been 8-10 years since I've talked to anybody from IMPD.
So with all right, so if we're looking at the NOFO only, total between UASI and SHSP is right now would be what, for something plus the, like this, 28.
I-7 just below 8, because it's
333 from.
3 million for the UASI and 4.3 for the SHSP.
So again, in my opinion, that's worst case scenario from a total funding standpoint, right? And in that scenario, NOFO numbers, how much, is that the 23% you're talking about, Bernie, that would be going to?
The current NOFO shows 23%, awarded to UASI jurisdictions.
Okay. Which is about, what did we say, 2 something.
So that it's 1,018,255 is what the UASI amount of the SHSP is currently.
Okay.
And I'm a guy UASI talking about you right here. I don't know if the jurisdictions that apply to SHSP from the UASI jurisdictions asked you first. Or if you're aware of that.
Looking at what's in here, the only folks that I know are RadNuke program, because the bulk of that is IMPD, so I just happen to obviously know them. That was a conversation. It said, unfortunately, here's the other priorities that we've rated as higher. So, by all means, if you want to put that through the shoe. And then West, I can't say the rest of those we were aware of that I know of. West, I can't speak 100% for Westfield. That I don't recall it being there, but the rest, no, I can say those conversations didn't come up.
Because that would be important to me to
Absolutely.
know if the 1 million from Uwazi was a surge, because they went through your process and your need was so great, you spent all yours, and this was critical, as opposed to there just wasn't a coordinated application of those jurisdictions applied in 2 places. Hedge the bets and win in one of them.
Most of these have not, as far as we know, necessarily put anything in toward Uwazi or had the conversations with the people that needed to.
Hamilton County, their biggest ask was basically for smaller kind of command band, which came in at 500,000. And so they said that was our biggest priority. And then looking down, if you look at what Carmel or Noblesville PD were asking for, again, mobile vehicle barriers, which were a lot less. So they kind of said, this is our priority, and if there's funding, and that's, I think, why they steered them to SHSP, which is kind of what we've done with our teams too, is if we can't meet, try the SHSP. But if our conversation is, support Hamilton County, Marion County with UASI and SHB for the other counties, then that makes sense.
Yeah, and I know, this is Joel Thacker, I know the conversations in Hamilton County and meeting monthly with, whether it's fire chiefs all meeting together with the EMA, or then we have a monthly public safety meeting with all law enforcement, all fire. It's a lot of collaboration and knowing that, support that the county provides to all the locals, but the need is continuing to grow where the county can't be, in full support of all the locals. And we know that as Fishers and Carmel and Westfield and Noblesville continue to grow at large rates, we have to, the local jurisdictions have to be able to support themselves. So I recognize Bernie is talking about representing locals, but we're all locals, one, and then working collaboratively together, whether it's in Marion County and Hamilton County, there's usually something going on every day, or certain events. And then that also brings the state police into supporting events in Hamilton County as well. So there's a lot of collaboration and discussion that goes on in the discussion with UASI.
Any other discussion on, I know you may have some other points that you want to bring up or?
Oh, no, that's, because that just rolls across all 3 sheets on
Okay.
how you work the map. And so I little piece on that, to Joel's comment, is I want to reiterate, this is not operational, because, anecdotally over the years, Hamilton County EMA, flying drones put out a big document saying, here's all the things we got with grants in the last 5 years. If anybody in the state needs us for an event, call us and we'll come. And they do. So I fully support what Joel's saying is a capability built in the donut down here where the greatest casual need is because of the events, because of the population made available well beyond the UASI is not lost. That's well supported. And it's something to talk about and how we fund it, as opposed to, I review all of them, something that when you read the grant, they clearly don't need. In the county of 6,000, $250,000 Bearcat, I'm like, really? But they just haven't been awarded, so we give them one. There's logic to spreading money around for no good reason when there's a debt spending plan. So the UASI, to both of your points, have had a long track record of wise spending and good shareable use well beyond the donut.
Any other comments, discussion on that? Yeah, I I think they're great points, Bernie, and as soon as we figure out the perfect science and formula, then it'll all change, right? And so is it something that you want that fourth option this year for this discussion, or is it something that you would like to just continue the discussion moving forward? And really, I think it kind of boils down to should a UWASI jurisdiction be eligible for SHSP, right? And, maybe I'm oversimplifying it.
And that's what I don't want to do. So the answer to your question is, I want this to be something we look at more strategically for the next year,
Okay,
because we're also only looking at SHSP. And we've got other grants to play in there, and that's an admin answer.
Mhm.
And from a cubicle, if I say this program's here, as opposed to the strategic intent of the dollars back to the mutual aid, and where we put the money doesn't mean that's the only benefit. As we broaden our perspective on partnerships, that'll drive us to the solution, and we'll feel more comfortable working together. If I address it only as a UWASI and an SHSP, that's an us and them.
right.
And there's no partnership at all. That's not my intent. So I wouldn't want us to change that program this year. Despite the program and the buckets, I want the discussion to be about partnerships and how do we share a vision of preparedness and leverage the different pots and jurisdictions in support of each other. So it's not a mechanical issue where do we put the money, it's where do we create the capability and how do we share it? And let the pot go where the pot goes. That's administrative nature.
Mhm.
It's making sure we understand what value that money in that place is providing to Hoosiers, not necessarily a jurisdiction. So I don't want to create an us and them in the discussion, but looking at the value of what's the return on investment for Hoosiers.
Yeah, I think that's,
And I think I've heard that
from everybody.
in Joel's and IAPD's discussion, even if we're to be left in the NOFO version now, I've said my piece about UWASI's got their money, we get our money, but it's not that simple. And as we talk about the value that Allen County and others get from the equipment and resources and expertise in the two counties, that's a valuable piece to take back to make sure we don't look at it as it's not a simple math problem.
Any final thoughts on that piece from anybody? Right. Rachel, do you feel like we're at a point where when I try to take a vote on the paths? And I mean, from my standpoint, it would be just maybe first we'll open it up to discussion. Are there any issues or projects that we want to discuss specifically on any of the three spreadsheets that have been provided? So we'd start with the NOFO numbers. Is there anything on the NOFO spreadsheet that concerns anybody or questions that we can answer? All right, let's talk about the award numbers, which would be the second tab, second spreadsheet. Any questions?
I think Bernie, the pop-up guy. So I think the award sheet would suggest that the additional money in the award letter stayed and we spend it.
Correct.
So my thought would be, if the additional money stayed on the SHSP, that means it probably stayed on the UWASI as well. And there'd be no need again to keep UWASI on the second sheet, because now they're at 8 million and they absolutely don't need it. And they're probably gonna struggle to buy stuff with a short time period as well. So I'm not sure that we need the second sheet at all. Because if the second sheet world that we kept the 6 million, that means Uwazi's keeping the 8 million. But I fully support, to the director's point, maybe the second sheet lists all the other projects that were good, didn't score high enough, but you simply list all the other projects in point order, which is what I think you did on the second level. And then you scraped a couple more for the third sheet, that you simply just list all the rest of the projects that were awardable, line them up in point order, and they're there in case an awarded one can't get done and you reach the next one. I think that's what the contingency sheet should look like. And then it doesn't matter whether it's UASI, not UASI, but those that are awardable, just put them in point order and be ready to grab one if you need it,
If there's money that's.
based on however the money clawed back, given back, kept. We kept ours, but UASI didn't keep theirs. So it's just, the second sheet, I think, should just be all the ones that were not awarded but awardable. And just like you've done, are they a UASI, are they not? So we have any option we have to call an audible and make a quick pick.
Now, that mean that if you have 2 or 3 with the same points, they'll share whatever is available. So if you had 2 or 3 counties or applications, which were all 3 97, 98, or, 30.
37.
37.
37. Let's go with 37.
37.
So that happened.
So, yeah, so that's what 37.
So you've got multiple 34s
Correct.
that, looking at the type of project, they put them in the order.
So they'll share whatever amount is. available.
Well, what we did, when we went back and after we had scored everything after IoT, SWIC, everybody had reviewed all the things. We went back and on my master list, which is a disaster, so I don't want to show it to you. We went back and when we got close, because I didn't do the numbers necessarily right then, money wise, we went through and we ranked. So here's all my 34s. This one's better than that one, project wise, terrorism, connection wise, whatever the differences were. And so we ranked them, this is the best 34, this is the second best, third best, fourth best.
Yeah, I like the idea of a bucket ready to go. Because again, I think we've got 2 numbers right now and it could be somewhere in between, or it could be something even better. I doubt it, but, you do want to be ready for that. And I think once we've got that number, we go back to these jurisdictions and say, all right, here's what you've got. You've got until August 30th of 2026. Can you do it? Kind of get almost a recommitment. No, we can't. We thought we'd have 3 years to do this, so we can't do it in a year, so we're out. All right, well, that money comes back in the bucket. We go to the next best option, right? Yeah, and Bernie, I think you're probably right that if the award numbers stick, then the UASI numbers probably stick, but my concern would be UASI, is it under the same time crunch to the 45 days?
It's all one,
Okay, all right, so,
it's one award for
Yeah.
both programs together.
okay, because I would hate for us to have a sheet that's where they're tied together, but then UASI wasn't under that same time crunch, and we want to get moving on SHSP, but sounds like we would
Everything's the same.
do it all at the same time, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think your sheet does that by putting them in 2 order.
Yeah.
And by having yellow UASI, it allows us to see them, but it doesn't put them at the bottom or separate them. It's points and.
All right, so maybe final question about the spreadsheets, any concerns with any of the options? Sounds like we probably, do you still want to do 3, you think? Or
I mean,
just the NOFO and then the award and moving things over to Quasi?
I think probably the NOFO and moving things to Uwazi is really all we need, because we can always pull from that larger spreadsheet as needed,
Okay.
depending on how things pan out in the park, in the end.
All right, so, unless there's any additional discussion or questions, I think we probably are ready for a, motion to approve these recommendations to move forward, depending on how things shake out with our, I'll call it an award, like a final notice of what we're actually expecting, right? And how would that come to DHS?
Well, it'll probably come through FEMA Go.
Okay.
It'll probably be a modification to our award letter that they took back. Or reissue of the award, I don't know what they'll call it.
At some point,
Some kind of official notice will come.
all right, good. And so once that happens, you'll have the ability to quickly take action and award this sub applicants and say,
Or at least get it into FEMA so they can put any holds or anything that they might find, especially national priorities. They like to review them all and then decide if they're good enough.
so the motion would be to approve the recommendations on the, at least the two different spreadsheets, the NOFO numbers and the award with things shifting over to Uwazi, Hamilton, Marion County projects.
I'm not clear on the motion. Are you keeping the Uwazi in the NOFO award or removing them from the NOFO award?
They would be, I would, but that's up to you. I wasn't actually making the motion. I'm just entertaining a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve. I would make a motion to approve the NOFO awards as you've listed them. And a second sheet in score order of contingency awards based on how the funding becomes available or as somebody drops off. So I'm making it too complicated, but I would make a motion to approve the NOVO and have a contingency sheet in award order for any changes or additions as needed at the discretion of the grants branch and the executive director, of course.
And the NOFO right now does include Uwazi jurisdiction.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Go ahead, Joel.
And I think is Bernie's second request, is that in that award numbers tab as well? So would we be approving the NOFO numbers and award numbers? And then as a review for the folks that couldn't complete this in a year, right? So is everybody on that list? In between those two tabs, right?
I would think that there probably are even some additional projects that we
There are.
aren't seeing right now on the award numbers tab that we might want to include as alternates, right? To make our list even bigger if we have a lot of jurisdictions that say we can't do it within the year.
Yeah. So so the NOFO tab and the awards tab, if I was hearing Bernie's motion correctly, is that right?
No, for me, it's the NOFO tab and the third tab, award and HMD Uwazi not as the actual data, but as the process that she used to create that third tab. So it's the NOFO award. And if we have additional funds, to use a process of ranking them in award order number, regardless of whether the Uwazi or non-Uwazi, to just continue in that point process until we run out of money.
So it's NOFO in the third tab.
Yes.
Okay. I'll second that.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. Let's take a vote.
All right, Jonathan,
Yes.
Joshua Kelu,
Yes.
Joel Thacker,
Yes, I abstain from the City of Carmel projects.
okay, Andrea Bond, Steve Kane, Bernie Byer,
City of Fort Wayne as a project.
Eric Gazel,
Yes.
Ryan Baird,
Yes.
Jack Seeks,
Yes.
Joshua Kesey,
Yes.
I mean, Rad's all over the place, so.
Tad Stahl,
I think I'll abstain. Just I was not expecting a vote, so apologies for that.
and Kevin Hobson.
Good. Yeah, Joshua was good. Yeah.
He's second on my list.
All right. Well, all right, so this passes, so we will, wait to see what we get back. And then if Rachel, if you don't mind sharing with the group, once we have that data, if there are any curveballs, then we'll,
Good.
call the group back together and we'll deal with them when we need to. But I think we've got a pretty good path for what we think we might see in the next, hopefully a couple of days, weeks. Hopefully,
Hopefully sooner than later.
yes, exactly. So thank you. I think it was a great discussion and I think we, we're in a good spot because our worst case scenario is not that bad. And our best case scenario is really great. So, we've got 1 year to make it go as far as it can, and then we'll see what happens next year. But, I think this is it's a step in the right direction for Indiana. Now, it may be a fluke, but if we benefit from a fluke right now, then we'll take it and run with it. So, okay, next up on the agenda is, what, are we on number 6?
Number 6, the next meeting is just gonna depend on either if we need to.
Yeah.
And or when we start hearing things about 26. So,
So our next meeting could be tomorrow. So everybody.
or it could be February.
Clear your calendars for the next 6 months, just in case, but,
But as always, if we have to call a meeting, I will send out, here are the options. Tell me who can come when and what kind of coming you can come, virtual or in person. And we'll pick the one that has the best quorum. As always.
sounds good. All right, any final comments from anybody online or in the room?
Did we need to vote on the list of ones that were not recommended? Is that something that else has to be done or?
Usually something we do.
The ineligible or
Or
not?
the
recommended?
just decline to award, I think is usually how we phrase that one. But whoever does it,
But they're pending this time.
they are,
They've not been declined. So we could get extra money.
right?
So we wouldn't do that on this one, right?
Another meeting.
Yeah, so maybe once we have the path forward, we need to get back together. It just won't be as time sensitive, right? Because.
Yeah, because we'll still be
We
putting
wanna get
things-
moving with the ones that are
Yeah.
awarded, and then we'll need to get back together to,
To officially decline before we send out actual award letters or denial letters.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
and since we don't know that list yet, we can't. Might be able to do a contingent vote, but. That could get complicated. Um, Could we vote to notify applicants that aren't part of the final approved list based on Bernie's motion? And then,
Except for if we're going to still check with them to see if they can even do the project, if the time frame stays the end of August or September. Because then it could change even more.
but we will, based on what I think, based on Bernie's motion, I feel like we internally should be able to come up with a list of awardees, right? Once we are notified of the final numbers. That might take a couple of conversations to get there, but we should have a list of projects that are gonna move forward, that are gonna be awarded. And then we'll have a list of projects that sort of withdrew, right? If they withdraw themselves or are not awarded. So can we go ahead and take a vote and say, based on what IDHS comes up with as the final awardees, withdrawals, and projects that just can't be funded because there's not enough funding, we can go ahead and decline those. And that way we wouldn't have to necessarily get back together just to do that. Is that okay?
Lawyer says yes, then I'm good.
It's a lawyer asking a lawyer, which I think is positive problems in the universe, so I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but I'm comfortable with it, but I also work here, and so, it would be our team that would be sort of making those final shifts and lists and having those conversations with the applicants to determine if they can move it forward or if they need to withdraw. So if the group would like to see that final list before those decisions are made official, I'm certainly comfortable with that. But if you're comfortable with our team taking what we've discussed today and implementing it and then getting the money out as quickly as possible, then I think we can do that with a sort of final vote that we'll clean up the ones that have to withdraw or that need to be officially notified that they were not selected.
So in my simple brain head, am I listening, am I hearing that all the eligible grant applications you can put in priority order based on points? And that's what we would approve, is to use that prioritized list to call audibles as you need to. So that, and you wouldn't really send out a decline letter yet, but you, depending on what the award letter says, you may award and tell everybody else their contingency, don't go anywhere. Don't.
I think until we get to the point where we've awarded all of the funding and we feel like the projects that are awarded are moving forward and the people and the entities are comfortable moving forward, then I think we would want to notify the others. Not necessarily that they're like an ongoing contingency, but they just haven't been awarded, right?
Mhm.
So I think if everybody's comfortable with that, then someone can make that motion to finalize the list, award, and then clean up on the back end the entities that are not awarded. Officially notify them that they were, I guess, declined, right? Okay. Don't have to repeat it. Just have to say, I'll make that motion.
I did the first one.
I'll make a motion.
I was gonna say, that's not bad.
I will make a motion. I couldn't repeat it if I tried.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion.
I'll be happy to second that.
There's a second. All right, any other conversation on that, motion to clean up the final list? All right, let's take a vote.
All right, Jonathan,
Yes.
Joshua,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Steve Kane, Bernie,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Brian Baird,
Yes.
Jack Seeks,
Yes.
Joshua Geezy,
Yes.
Ed Stahl,
I'll abstain again, please.
and Kevin Hobson.
Okay, good. Thanks, Joel. You probably saved us from another meeting. All right. Any other final comments? All right, we'll let you know when the next meeting will be, if it's coming up or if you.
And whatever the
Advice and-
final results end up being,
Yeah.
along with the final list of who we are awarding once we have it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything, such a thing as a final list in this process.
Not this year.
I don't
This
think,
year, usually there is, but not this year.
I called it the final list, but I didn't mean it. Yeah. All right, great. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Here we go. All right, any objections to adjourning? I'm not gonna do a roll call for that one. All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
It'd be hilarious if we made a motion.